week we visit with one of the great gods of ancient Greece, and we find out all about their past, present, and future lives. And I'll tell you, we have an exceptional and exciting show in store for you today, because we're going to travel high atop Mount Olympus to visit one of the great, one of the spectacular, one of the super gods of all time. That's right, a very, very special opportunity for you to get to know and find out all about your favorite, the father of all the gods. So, let's get all ready, boys and girls, moms and dads, gods and goddesses, heroes and villains, and gorgons alike. We're going to visit right now from live atop Mount Olympus. There he is. Dynamic, magnificent, snappy dresser that he is. It's time for us to play, and you can read it along with me. This is your life. And whose life is it today? Mine. Ladies and gentlemen, the king of the gods, Zeus, come on down. That's right, put that crown on. Zeus, the king of the gods. Have a seat in our great throne of honor. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We have today, for your viewing enjoyment, we'll be meeting the friends, family, brothers, sisters, and all the other entities that make up the life of the one, the only, the great god, Zeus. Ah, where did all of my papers and notes go? There they are, ladies and gentlemen, the supreme ruler of the gods herself. Do you know that her power is greater than all the other gods combined? But she doesn't know everything. She can be tricked. And she's not the strongest power in the universe. The fates are stronger. However, she is the storm and weather god. She rules the heavens and throws her fantastic thunderbolts. Go ahead, show us one of those great thunderbolts up there. Whoa! She fires them across the cosmos, killing people left and right. What a great job. She does reward good, and she does punish evil. And yes, in case you didn't know it, the Olympic Games were started in Zeus's honor, held every fourth summer in old ancient Greece. Let's have a warm welcome, if you please, for Zeus, the supreme being of the gods. Well, Zeus, we have brought together friends and family from all over Mount Olympus just for your enjoyment. Now, let's see if you can identify this first voice. Card number 1. If you would read your card, if you please.
I was the head of the Titans until you beat me.
That's right, formerly the head of the Titans and one of the most important people in your life. Card number 2, if you would read yours.
You were such a cute little god until you locked your father in the underworld.
That's right, here they are, your mother and your father. Come on down. It's Cronus and Rhea. Come on down. All right, Rhea. Hi, nice to see you. Cronus, come on up here. Come on, Cronus, and stand up. Let everybody see. Oh, yes, you are. Now, they were actually members of the Titans. They were the gods who ruled before Zeus, their kind and loving son, banished them to the underworld forever. What a great kid, huh? Well, anyway, they were of enormous size and incredible strength. And yes, they were born of the earth and the heavens. They ruled over everything until Zeus and his brothers decided to overthrow them. And then Zeus became the great god that he is. Hey, well, thank you for being with us today, and we'll have complimentary tickets for something else some other time. All right, let's have a big hand for Cronus and Rhea. Well, now that we've met your parents, we have to meet one other very important person in your life. Card number 3, if you would read your card, if you please.
It's not easy being married to you, especially when you throw those thunderbolts around the house.
That's right, here she is, your wife, Hera, queen of the gods. Come on down. There we go, get those lights on her, ladies. Hera, queen of the gods, there she is. Now, you may not know this, but Hera was actually the most beautiful woman in the entire world. However, she was mean. She had a vicious temper. She was extremely jealous. It's probably why she's the goddess of marriage and the goddess of women. But you know what? Her hobby, spent all of her free time was spent in punishing all the women that Zeus fell in love with. Hey, isn't that great? Hera, thank you for coming down today. Let's have a big hand for Hera. Well, now that we've met your lovely wife and your charming parents, now we're going to have to meet, as you know, Zeus was not an only child. We'll meet some of your brothers. Card number 4, if you please. Lotion? That's right, he always needs lotion for his dry skin because he's the Lord of the Sea, the great god Poseidon. Come on up, Poseidon. All right, nice to have you here today, Poseidon. That's it, riding on his dolphins across the water. It's the great god Poseidon. Poseidon, he was Lord of the Sea. Now, actually, when the Titans were overthrown, the 3 brothers, Poseidon, Zeus, and a third one still to come, had drawn lots to see who would be the great god over everything. Of course, Zeus won, and in lots, Poseidon became not only Lord of the Sea, but the god of earthquakes and the god of horses as well. Now, he's very violent by nature, and although he may be happy and peaceful now, he's very moody, and he can blow up just like that. He had many children, and most of them were giants and monsters. What a great father. And he drives a golden car over the seas that calms the waters whenever he passes. A big hand, if you please, for the god of the sea, Poseidon. Thank you for coming up today. Well, that was one of your brothers, Zeus, but now we have your other brother, probably your favorite. It's not a glamorous job, but somebody's got to do it. Card number 5, if you please. He's really not a bad guy once you get to know him, but he is Lord of the Underworld, the God of the Dead. Come on up, Hades! All right, hey, nice to see you, Hades. That's right. That's right. He is the ruler of the dead. One of the 3 brothers that rule over everything. He's not a welcome visitor in Mount Olympus or on the earth. He very rarely leaves the underworld, and we're very glad you could come and visit us today. He's not a terrible god. Well, actually, he is a terrible god. He's not evil. He's very fair, but he's very stern, very strict. He doesn't have pity for anyone. He doesn't allow anyone any mistakes, kind of like being a teacher. But in the other world, he's just very, very stickler for the rules. He does have a terrible 3-headed dog named Cerberus who guards the gates to the underworld. And, wait, Hades, I need you to come back up here because I have someone very special for you to meet. Come on back up. See, Hades here, he was the victim of a very awful trick. You see, at one point in time, the goddess of love shot him with an arrow. But he would fall in love with the first person he saw. Well, he saw someone on the earth, and he kidnapped her away and took her to the underworld. And let's hear from her now. Number 6, if you read your card, please.
This is my favorite time of year.
Yes, it is. Here she is, the wife of Hades. Come on up, Persephone. That's right, Persephone. Persephone is the goddess of springtime. Now, see, what had happened was, when Hades fell in love with her, he kidnapped her and took her to the underworld. Well, her mother, who missed her very much, and wanted her widow girl to come home very soon. She was so upset that she said to Zeus, Zeus, I'm going to make everything stop growing on earth, and I won't let anything grow again until my little baby comes home. So the ground got very cold, and the temperatures dropped, and the snow began to fall, and the lakes froze over, and all the trees lost their leaves. And everything stopped growing. And it went on for month after month. Well, Zeus, noticing there was a problem here, sent his trusty messenger down to speak to Hades and to beg Hades, please let her go. But Hades loved her too much. Now, there was a rule that said if you ate anything when you were in the underworld, you had to stay there forever. Well, he fed her some pomegranate seeds, and she ate just one, but it was enough. And she was condemned to spend part of her life in the underworld. But being the great god that he is, Hades sat down with Zeus and they worked it all out and made a deal. So that 4 months a year, Persephone would stay with her husband in the underworld. And during that time, because her mother was so sad, the lakes would freeze over and the leaves would fall from the trees and the ground would get hard and nothing would grow and it would get very cold. And we would have winter. But the other 8 months, she would be allowed to come back to Earth. And again, the sun would come out, the land would warm up, things would grow, leaves would return to the trees, and we would have the other seasons. And that's how it all happened, and we wouldn't have any winter at all if it hadn't been for this great guy right here. Hades, thank you for winter. Nice. And Persephone, thank you for joining us today. Let's have a big round of applause. Well, we've had the opportunity now to meet with your mom and dad, with your brothers, with your lovely sister-in-law, and now we're going to meet some of the exciting and wonderful children that you have brought into this world, oh great God Zeus. Let's start with one of the first children. Card number 7, if you please.
I've never lost a race in my life, and I will live forever.
That's right, he'll live forever because he's the God. He's never lost a race because he's the fastest of the gods. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome, if you please, for Hermes. Come on up, the messenger of the gods. All right, hey. He is, now, you may not realize it, he may not look like it to you, but he is actually a master thief. He is the cleverest of all the gods. The messenger of the gods, and he's also the kind guy that when you die, he takes your soul to the underworld. What a great guy. Nice sideline, makes a few bucks on the sides. How much do you get per soul? Anyway, not only is he one of the cleverest gods, but Hermes appears more often in more myths and legends than any other character in Greek mythology. The ever-popular Hermes, thank you for being with us today. All right. We met your first son, now we have to meet one of your lovely daughters. Card number 8.
I was born at the sea foam and I am married to that good-looking blacksmith guy.
That's right, my lovely wife. Aphrodite.
Oh my God.
Aphrodite was the goddess of love and beauty, and you know what? She loved to laugh. Lay a little laugh on us. Go ahead. Come on.
Come on!
See, we knew she could do it. She was absolutely irresistible to mortals and gods alike. And yes, her claim to fame is that she was married to that adorable and irresistible blacksmith of the gods, Hephaestus. Thank you for being with us today. Oh! I guess it's cold chicken for dinner tonight. All right! Now we'll meet another one of the sons of Zeus. Card number 9, if you please.
I bring the sun to you every day.
He does. He brings the sun. He's the god of light himself, the fabulous Apollo. Come on down. You're next on the new, whoa, too hot for me. This is your life, the god Apollo. He was. You're not going to burn me again. I'm too clever for you. You are the most widely honored. Be quiet. Got to keep the band quiet. He was the most widely honored and the most important of all the gods. He was an all-around good god, the god of light, the god of truth, the god of prophecy, a master musician, a master archer, and he first taught men the art of healing. That's why he has the stethoscope, which is over there under the chair, but that's okay. He was also the youngest and most handsome of all the gods. And each and every morning, he would get into his giant chariot, his golden chariot drawn by golden horses, and he would pull the sun across the sky just so you could have each and every day. Hey, thanks again for being the god of light. Whoa, Apollo! Let's have a big hand for him. And there was one more child of note, one more daughter to bring up at this point. Goddess number 10, if you please.
I am the goddess who protects Athens.
That's right, here she is, the protector of Athens, the person who gave us olives,
Darth Vader.
the original Power Ranger herself, Goddess Athena. That's right, and Goddess Athena, we have a very special treat for you today because we sent our roving cameras out across the cosmos to find the largest temple ever built to a Greek god that we know about. That's right, it is in ancient Greece, and you can still see the ruins today. The Parthenon, high atop the Acropolis, was specially designed and built to honor the goddess Athena. She was not only the goddess of wisdom, but the goddess of all warriors as well, the guardian of Athens. She gave olives to the Athenians in a time when they needed food. She was the protector of all heroes. And I know this is the thing you'll love her most for, she's the person who invented math.
No.
The goddess Athena, Zeus's favorite child. Do you know that when she wasn't just off fighting a war or something, she was the one who carried all of Zeus's thunderbolts because he thought she was his favorite daughter. All right, thank you very much, Goddess Athena. Well, you know what? We've gone through the major gods and goddesses. And in just a moment, we'll be back to look at some terrible villains and some incredible heroes. But first, we have this paid political announcement. You may be wondering, of course, why we're talking about the Greek gods and goddesses. Well, actually, Greek mythology influenced literature and religion for the next 2,000 years and continues to influence us today. The Greeks were the very first people to create gods in their own image and likeness rather than out of animals or inanimate objects. Like the Greeks, their gods were tough, ambitious, imaginative. The three things the Greeks admired the most, intelligence, beauty, and power, were in every one of their gods. Their gods were people who had feelings and flaws just like real people. Their heroes were bold, strong, and clever, and character determined destiny. Someone of noble character always succeeded. Someone with character flaws who acted on them always failed. This, by the way, was a paid political commercial announcement brought to you by the staff and faculty of First Ward Elementary School, the creators of the finest students in the K through 6 in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg school system. This, by the way, was the educational part of the program. Now, moving along back to This Is Your Life, we now meet one of the truly grotesque, one of the truly horrible, one of the truly scary, one of the most miserable creatures ever created by God or man. Card number 11, if you please.
I washed my hair and I can't do a thing with them.
That's right, because she doesn't have hair on her head. Her head is covered with live snakes. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome for Medusa. Hello, Medusa. Thank you for coming in here today. That's right. And they even have little eyes. Turn around and show them all your little snakes. Aren't they adorable? You know, Medusa was so ugly that any mortal who looked at her would instantly turn to stone. That's right. But she was the only one of the three Gorgons, the three women with horrible heads full of snakes, that could be killed. And she would have her head cut off by one of our first heroes. But right now, while she still has a fine head on her shoulders, let's have a big thank you for Medusa. Thank you very much. All right. Well, that wasn't too enthusiastic, but that's all right. We'll give you another chance in just a minute. Now we're going to meet the hero who became famous because, yep, you guessed it, he lopped off her head. Let's hear it. Card number 12.
I gave Medusa her first haircut.
And it was a trim all the way down to the shoulders. Come on up, Perseus. All right, Perseus. Hey, how you doing? What a guy, this Perseus, you know? Zeus remembers Perseus well because Zeus was Perseus' father. But his stepfather didn't like him very much and set him adrift at sea, hoping that he would die or drown or something even worse. But instead, he was raised on a distant island. He turned out to be strong, tall, athletic, noble. Doesn't he look athletic and noble?
No.
He was tricked into going after the Gorgons, and he knew that he only could kill Medusa. She was the only one that could be killed. But he couldn't do it as a mortal man because the Gorgons were too powerful. However, the goddess Athena gave him a magic shield which was so shiny it looked like a mirror. Hades, that great god of the underworld, gave him his hat which made him invisible. And Hermes, that great messenger god, gave him a pair of sandals with wings so he could fly, and a very sharp knife. So, putting on his invisible hat, Perseus snuck into the Gorgon's cave. He couldn't look at her because he would instantly turn to stone, so he used his shield as a mirror. He held it up. He walked in backwards, finding Medusa in the shield. Because she was so big, he used the sandals and floated off the ground. Using the sharp knife with Athena guiding his hand, the warrior goddess, he cut off the head of Medusa. And that's it. What a great guy to be known for cutting off the head of a Gorgon. That's Perseus. Now, Perseus is also very familiar for one other thing. See, when the winged horse was created, it hadn't existed before he cut off the head of Medusa. When he cut off Medusa's head, her blood formed in the ground and created a winged horse. Pegasus, the only flying horse. Now, Pegasus was somewhere between the gods and man, a horse that had greater powers than a normal horse, but it wasn't a god. It could be not tamed. It couldn't be trained. It couldn't be captured until our next hero, given special gifts and a special ability by the gods themselves, our next hero, there he is, riding for the first time on the winged horse, Pegasus. Let's hear it. Number 13. If you read your card, please.
I was a really great hero who took a big fall.
That's right, a big fall. Our next hero, Bellerophon. Come on up, bring those ponies along. Let's have a big hand for Bellerophon. All right. Bet you never thought you'd be here with My Little Ponies today, did you? Ah, well, Bellerophon, see, Pegasus had never had a rider before. But the great goddess Athena, feeling sorry for him, gave him a bridle of gold and a bit of gold for Pegasus' mouth. And he put that on him, and as soon as he did, what happened at that moment? Pegasus instantly became tamed, and he rode Pegasus. Now, he needed to do that because he had a very evil monster he had to conquer. It had the head of a lion, the body of a goat, the tail of a snake, and the mind of a politician. Yeah, he had to defeat this evil creature, and using the great winged horse Pegasus, he did. But he got a big head. Thought he was too good for the earth. Thought he was almost like a god with his great power. So he ordered Pegasus to fly him up into the heavens to Mount Olympus. But as we all know, only gods can live on Mount Olympus. So Zeus, that wonderful, kind, loving person who locked his parents in the underworld, sent down a thunderbolt. Go ahead, let one of those thunderbolts fly there, Zeus. There we go, and that caused Pegasus to throw Bellerophon off. He fell to the earth and spent the rest of his life wandering around, wondering why he wasn't a hero anymore. And Pegasus went to live with Zeus for the rest of his days, and when Athena wasn't around, Pegasus got to carry the thunderbolts. Thank you very much, Bellerophon. It was very nice having you here with us today. Well, we only have a couple of heroes left, but the next one is probably one of the most famous that you've ever heard or seen about. Card number 14.
Most people know me as Hercules.
That's right. Most people know him as Hercules, but he's not. That's only if you're in Rome. In ancient Greece, he was Heracles. Come on down. You're next on This Is Your Life. Come on, let's have a big hand for Heracles. Heracles was undoubtedly the absolute strongest of the gods. Show him how strong you are. Whoa! Look at that. Unbelievable. Zeus, you were his father, but Hera hated him. So she tried to do all kinds of things to get him into trouble. And see, Hercules, even though he had the most incredible strength, he wasn't too bright. So he had to actually conquer 12 labors in his lifetime, labors which no mortal man could solve. But because of his virtue, his honesty, and his incredible strength, he was able to do that. Now, Hercules also had a very bad temper, and you might not know it by looking at him, but he was a huge eater as well. He would have as many as 7 pizza slices every lunch. It was incredible. In his labors, he killed many monsters, and when he died, his divine side was allowed to go to Mount Olympus and reside with the gods. One of the great heroes of all time, Heracles, thank you for coming. We'll have a complimentary gift for you sometime next millennium. Okay. Our next hero, who is bigger than a hero, who is actually once bigger than Zeus himself. Number 15, if you please.
Mankind was my best friend.
Mankind was his best friend because he created mankind. Ladies and gentlemen, Prometheus. Oh, let's have a big hand for Prometheus. Hey, nice to see you, Prometheus. Prometheus was one of the Titans, a brother of Cronus. And he was one of the gods that ruled over everything until that wonderful child Zeus banished all of them to the underworld forever. Now, Prometheus created man out of clay. It was an unusual mixture. It was part dog, part fox, part deer, part lion, part snake, with just a little dove thrown in for good luck. Understand, I said he created man. He did not create women. There were no women at that time. He did teach man about tools. He wanted to give mankind fire, but Zeus, that ever-kind, loving God, said no fire for mankind. Prometheus gave fire to mankind anyway, and he knew he was going to be in big trouble. So, before he was taken under arrest by the Mount Olympus authorities, Prometheus took all the bad things that he never wanted man to have, and he put them into a box and gave them to his brother to keep safe and never let anyone open for the rest of time. Well, as a punishment, Zeus had me forge a chain that no one could break. And I chained our hero Prometheus in the mountains by himself alone, at the bottom of a valley with no trees, no flowers, no plants, no water, no food, no one around, where it got incredibly hot in the summer and freezing cold in the winter, and he stayed there for thousands of years until the great god Heracles, who is only part god, rescued him as perhaps his greatest heroic feat. Prometheus, thank you for giving us men. Hey, let's have a big hand for Prometheus. All right. Now, the gods were very upset, and Zeus, once fire was given to man, couldn't take it away. So he decided to give man another gift, and he asked me to create it. He wanted to make a new creature for the earth, a creature with all good things and all bad things and all opposites. So I made it from gold and gravel, from sweet things and bitter, from kindness and cruelty, and of course what I created was woman, girls. Now Aphrodite, because she was so sneaky, Aphrodite also gave woman the gift of beauty, sweet talk, and cunning tricks, which explains why girls are so tricky. Well, she was to be the wife. The first woman was to be the wife of Prometheus' brother. Remember Prometheus' brother? He's the one holding that box. Number 16, read your card if you please.
It wasn't a cat that I let out of the bag.
Oh, it wasn't a cat at all she let out of the bag. Come on up. Pandora, the very first woman. Let's have a big hand for her. All right. Well, Pandora, she knew she was never allowed to open that box. That box right there. But you know, she just couldn't resist. She thought about it. She dreamed about it. She wrote stories about it. And then finally one day, she just had to open that box. Just take a little itty bitty peek. And when she did, she let out all the evil, nasty, terrible, bad things in the world. She let out the bugs, the tarantulas, and the salamanders, and the newts, and the slime, and the politicians. And she let out all the bees and wasps, and all the lizards and snakes, and all the diseases of the world. That was what she, but at the bottom of the box, and if she opens it up, she can show it to you right now. There was one thing left. There was a small angel-like figure at the bottom of the box. The angel-like figure was hope, and told her that whenever there is life, there is always hope. So, all we can do at this point is say, hey, thanks for all those diseases, colds, the flu, stomach flus, viruses. Hey, Pandora, without it, you wouldn't be here. All right, let's have a big hand for Pandora. Just a couple left to go. Number 17, if you please.
I've got the whole world in my head.
Boy, he sure does. Here he is. Ladies and gentlemen, Atlas. Atlas, that's right. The only person, alive or dead, who was as strong as the great god Heracles. Atlas was actually another titan. Like Prometheus and like Cronus and like Rhea, he was one of the original gods before Zeus overthrew them all. Now, Atlas wanted the whole world in his hands to rule as he pleased. So when Zeus defeated him, this great and wonderful and kind god decided he could have the whole world. And so he was condemned for the rest of eternity to carry the world on his back and all the weight. There you go, Atlas. Thank you for coming up today, and we'll have a nice party gift sometime next week. All right. So a big hand for Atlas. All right, we have covered all of the major heroes, the major troublemakers, the major gods, goddesses of Mount Olympus, but there are two more groups of people that you should know about, because they have an awful lot to do with mankind and how mankind lives and dies. First of all, card number 18, if you please.
We need you and call us next.
They knew I'd call them next. They know everything. By gosh, they're the Fates. Come on up. All right, here they are. three Fate sisters. Ladies and gentlemen, they're the ones who guide your whole lives. That's right, the Fates. They're the three sisters who decide the destiny of every living mortal on the earth. Sister number one, she's the one who first makes the thread of life that gives birth to all the mortals on earth. Fate number two, she's the one who weaves the fabric of life, who takes people on their journeys, their quests, their accomplishments, and their failures. And then kindly Fate number three, she's the one who gets the scissors and cuts that thread and cuts your little miserable life to an end. That's it, ladies and gentlemen, a big hand for the Fates. Thank you, ladies. All right, and we have one more group left. Life would be awful dull without them. Ladies, number 19, if you please.
We made life fun.
That's right, they made life more than just a job. They make it an adventure. Stand on up because we have to welcome the Muses. All right, the Muses. These are 9 sisters, of which only 4 showed up today because the other 5 were having lunch at Pizza Hut. They are 9 sisters who blessed mankind with poetry, songs, literature, laughter, astronomy, theater. They bring the culture and the education and the learning and the knowledge and the creativity. They are the arts, the crafts. They are what gives mankind his intelligence and takes him above just being another animal. Ladies and gentlemen, a big hand for the Muses! Well, now, we're just about done with our show for today, but we have one other special treat left. And this is a very important one, because, as everybody knows, gods and goddesses are often not allowed to even go to Mount Olympus if Zeus decides he wants to have the place for himself. But, out of the kindness of his heart today, the great god Zeus has made an offer. You, too, can win an all-expense-paid trip, 3 days, 2 nights, to the fabulous, the spectacular, the tremendous Mount Olympus Hilton. That's right, this vacation, courtesy of the great god Zeus, high atop Mount Olympus, deep in the heart of Greece. You too can win an all-expense-paid trip to the Mount Olympus Hilton, 3 days, 2 nights, no other gods, goddesses, or anybody else there. All you have to do is very simply answer this question. Which of the gods was the god that made mankind? No? You're close, you're on the right track. Prometheus, our winner! That's right, ladies and gentlemen, you win an all-expense-paid trip to Mount Olympus, and just as soon as we figure out how to get you there, we'll let you know when you can go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you all for coming today to our exciting game show. This has been Your Life. Tune in again next week when we'll profile yet another great god or goddess of ancient Greece. Thank you very much. Now, if you would do me the honors. Everyone in a chair, I need the costumes and the cards back on the chair. Those of you who have cards or flashlights or costumes on the floor, just bring them up and set them on the table for me. Zeus, you did such a great job. You may keep that crown for the rest of the day. It's yours.
What do y'all need to say?
Thank you.
Yeah, I believe he did outdo himself that time.
We have, for your reproducible experience, if you wish, a copy of the gods and goddesses I did, and I will have the books here for a week. So if the kids do need to do reports,
Read these books. Because we did action research.
we do it already. I know fourth graders, I think, are just going to do it, but they're welcome to use them if they want.
Are you with me? Hello? Excuse me. Excuse me.
That's correct.
You're not showing me that you know what you need to be doing.
Miss when we did ancient Greece, you know, Zeus's wife, he married his sister. That wasn't really his. He didn't know it was his sister.
You didn't know.
No, he married his sister. I read it in a book.
Okay. Ooh.
What time do you guys go to lunch?
Hold on.
Now, if you'd be kind enough to set those back down. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, oh, that's all right. I'll show you.
I hit stop.
Thanks.
That was plain. What time do you
12. You're still not ready.